This free AI lets you make any sound from just a text prompt. And it can even make music. Plus, you can upload a video and it can automatically detect what's in the video and generate the audio for this. This AI is called AudioX, and it's completely free and open source. So in this video, I'm going to go over all the things it can do, plus I'll show you how to download and run this locally on your computer so you can use it for free for unlimited times. First, let's go over some of their demos. The first thing it can do is generate any sound from just a text prompt. So here is thunder and rain during a sad piano solo. Not bad, and then here is typing on a keyboard. Pretty realistic to me. And then here is a person snoring. Very nice, and then here's a toilet flushing. A super realistic sound. Here's an airplane taking flight. And it captures this beautifully. Here's an explosion and crackling. Indeed, not only do we have an explosion, but we do have some crackling near the end. Here is food and oil sizzling. Very nice. Now, instead of just generating sound effects, this can also generate music. So here's an example where the prompt is orchestral, epic with drums, strings, and brass. And then here is some EDM. Again, it's pretty good for some background music. And then here's a suspenseful scene in a haunted mansion. Ooh, super scary. And then here is some uplifting ukulele tune for a travel vlog. Here's an interesting one. Playful 8-bit chiptune music for a retro platformer game. Let's hear what this sounds like. Very nice. It sounds like I'm playing the early version of Pokemon or something. There are a lot more examples on this page, so feel free to listen to them afterwards if you want. In addition to generating sounds or music, this can also just take in a video and automatically generate the appropriate sound for the video. So here's one example. Very nice. And then here's another example. If I didn't know that the audio was AI generated, I would have actually thought that this audio was part of the video. It sounds pretty real to me. Here's another example. This is super impressive. So it actually knows when to generate the key press sounds and then when to generate this other sound of the hand pushing this tab. So it actually aligns with all of the events in the video. Let's see what we have here. Again, it's quite impressive. It kind of knows when to generate the sound of the jet louder versus softer. So as the jet flies away from the viewer, then the jet sounds kind of also sound farther away. So those are some video to audio generations. But in addition, you can also plug in a video and generate music from the video. So you would upload the video, it would analyze the video, but in addition, you can also enter in a prompt to specify the type of music that you want for the video. So here are some examples. A very majestic sound for this landscape type of video. Here's another one. You can kind of hear it's like a inspirational fitness type of music, probably for some sports or fitness device. And then what about this one? That is super impressive, how it kind of knows to generate some impact sounds when it cuts to another scene. It even knows how to build up the tension and then introduce some silence near the end there, followed by an even bigger impact. So the contrast there is just beautiful, and it really aligns with this video. Let's see what we have here. Very nice. Again, it kind of knows how to generate the beat according to when it cuts from scene to scene. Plus, near the start there, when it saw a race car, it did generate some race car-like sounds. You can see how this can really easily generate some background music for a commercial or a short video. Now, if you compare the performance of AudioX with all these other AI audio generators, whether it's for sound effects or music, note that AudioX is, in general, the best. So it's colored in blue, and as you can see here, it covers by far the most surface area, which means it achieves, on average, the highest scores across all these different benchmarks. Anyways, I'll link to this main page if you're interested in reading more about the technical details, but those are just some of their demos. Let's test this out ourselves and see if it's actually any good. Here's what the interface looks like, and don't worry, in the latter half of this video, I'm going to go over how to download and install this on your computer so you can also use this interface offline for unlimited times. Now, AudioX can do a lot of cool things. The simplest thing is you can just prompt it to generate sound effects or music. So for example, for the first prompt, I'm just going to write ocean waves, and then down here there are additional parameters you can set for the audio generation. So the number of steps is basically how many iterations you want the AI to go through before generating your audio output. In general, the more steps you have, the better the audio quality will be, but at a certain point, you're going to get diminishing returns. So it seems like the sweet spot is the default value of 100 steps. If you want to generate this faster, then you can always lower the step count. And then for preview every, this is like if you want to preview the generation at certain intervals while it's generating. So let's say you set the steps to 100 and then you preview every 25 steps, then you're going to get 3 previews. So the first preview would be at step 25, and then the second one would be at step 50, and then the third one would be step 75, and then the fourth one at step 100 would be your final output. Usually this is not necessary, so I just leave it at 0. And then CFG scale is like how literally you want the AI to follow your prompt. So a higher value means it's more literal, whereas a lower value would mean it follows your prompt less and it can be more creative. For us, let's leave it at the default value of 7. And then sampler type is just the algorithm used to generate the audio. There are different samplers you can choose from. I just tend to leave all of these settings at the default. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, so that was pretty quick. I'm running an RTX 5000 which has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and that only took less than a minute. Anyways, here's our generation. Very nice. Let's try out another prompt. So I'm going to write a motorcycle drives down the road. I'm going to keep all the settings the same and click generate. Okay, let's see what we get. Very nice. Note that each audio clip is 11 seconds, and in the settings there doesn't seem to be any way to set the duration of an individual audio clip. I'm sure you can edit the code further to allow for longer durations, but at least for the default interface, you can only generate a max of 10 seconds of audio for a video. But I mean, if you're generating videos with AI, most if not all the video generators out there can only output 5 to 8 seconds max anyways. So this AI is more than enough to add audio to these AI video generations. And by the way, to download this, simply click on this download arrow over here. Alright, final sound effect test, and then I'm also going to show you some music examples. But here the prompt is coins dropping on a table. Again, let's click generate and see what that gives us. Okay, and here's our result from that. It indeed sounds like coins dropping on the table. This sounds super realistic. Alright, well, like I said, in addition to sound effects, it can also generate instrumental music. So for the prompt, I'm going to write electronic dance music, trance, upbeat. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, let's play this. Not too bad, it does sound like electronic dance music. Let's try another one. So here the prompt is folk acoustic with finger-picked guitar, soft vocals, and natural ambience. I'm not sure if it will actually generate any vocals, but let's give it a shot. Alright, here's the result. It's kind of mediocre. I mean, it does sound like a finger-picked acoustic guitar, but there aren't any soft vocals, which is expected because this can only generate instrumentals. Alright, for the next prompt, let's try this. Epic orchestral music for a battle scene. Let's see if it can handle that. Okay, let's play this. Not bad, it does sound like an epic orchestral piece for a battle scene. Okay, next let's try this. K-pop music with catchy hooks, punchy beats, and layered synths. Let's see if it can handle that. Okay, here's the result. Not too bad. I mean, I could potentially see this being the background music of a K-pop song. Next, let's try this. Sad emotional ballad with violin solo. Wow, that sounds really realistic. It does sound like someone really playing the violin, and it does kind of sound pretty sad, like someone is dying. Now, like I said, this doesn't just generate audio from a text prompt. You can also upload a video for it to analyze and generate the sound of. So for example, I'm going to upload this video of a stream in a forest. I'm going to leave the prompt empty. Let's see if it can just analyze the video and generate the sound of this. And then over here for video params, you can also specify the start time and the end time of the video. It looks like the maximum duration is 10 seconds. Let's click generate. All right, here's what we get. So let me play the full video for you. Very nice. So even without any prompt, it was able to identify what was in the scene and generate the appropriate sound for this. Super impressive. Next, instead of this forest stream, I'm gonna upload this video of some ducks swimming in a pond, and let's see if it can generate the sound of that. I'm gonna leave all the settings the same and click generate. All right, let's see what we get. That is very impressive. I really like this feature. I think it's even more useful than just generating some audio from scratch. All right, final example. Let's upload this clip of someone with a chainsaw, and then I'm gonna leave all the parameters the same and click generate. All right, here's what we get. Really impressive. It even knows how to stop when the person stops near the end there. I did not expect it to do that. Thanks to Monica for sponsoring this video. Monica is an AI assistant that provides access to the best AI tools all in one place. This includes the top AI models like GPT, DeepSeek, and Gemini, plus the top image generators like Flux and Stable Diffusion, and the top video generators like Kling and Hailuo. This is a killer deal because you can use all of these in one platform for way cheaper than if you used all of these separately. You can use this as a browser extension on your desktop or on your mobile device. And the browser extension is context aware, so you can interact directly with any web page you're on. You can easily get Monica to reply to emails or summarize an article. So for example, let's say I'm on this page. I can get Monica to summarize this really technical article in just one click. And here's something even cooler. You can even generate a mind map from this content, which can help you understand ideas more visually. Note that this is way more convenient than just copying everything and going to ChatGPT to ask it to summarize the article. You can also use Monica to summarize YouTube videos. So here's an example. Let's say I'm watching this YouTube video. I can get it to generate a summary or even generate a podcast in just one click. Let's try this one. It even gives you a list of highlights with the correct timestamps. Plus, if you click on this, again, it's generating a mind map for you so you can understand everything more visually. With Monica, everything is just a few clicks away. But don't take my word for it, they have over 10 million users worldwide with a 4.9 star rating on the Chrome store. Try it out for free via the link in the description below. And when you're ready to upgrade, use my code AISearch10 for a nice discount. Full details in the description below. Now, in addition to just uploading a video and getting it to analyze the video and generate the sound from that, you can also upload a video and generate like the soundtrack for the video. So for example, I'm gonna upload this video that was generated by Kling 2.0 of the viewer being chased by this dragon. And then for the prompt, I'm gonna write epic thriller movie, scary and exciting. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. All right, now the video is too tall to be played here, so I'm gonna just full screen this and then click play. Wow, very nice. Notice that it even adds, the sound of this dragon chasing the viewer, even though I didn't really specify that in the prompt. Here's another example. I'm gonna upload this video of some sakura, and then for the prompt, I'm gonna write a calm scene, traditional Japanese music, peaceful. Let's click generate. Okay, here's what we get. Not bad, and there you go. That is some traditional Japanese music. They're not really playing any particular tune, but it does kind of fit this Sakura scene. So that sums up my demos. Next, let's go over how to install this and run it locally on your computer. So at the top here, they have released a GitHub repo, which I'll also link in the description below. And if you scroll down, here are all the instructions on how to set this up. Now, the VRAM requirements of this are actually quite low. Some users have reported it to run successfully on even 4 gigabytes, and some users could even use just a CPU to run this. So the compute requirements are pretty low. Alright, so let's go over this step by step. First, we need to git clone this repository. And in order to do that, you do need to have git installed first. If you don't have git installed, here's how to install it. If you already have git installed, feel free to skip to the next section. So all we gotta do is download the latest release for whatever operating system you're using. So I'm using Windows, so I'm just gonna click on download for Windows. I'm running 64-bit, so I'm gonna click on this to download, and it's now downloading this exe file. So once that's completed, all we gotta do is open that exe file, and then follow the steps. So I'm gonna click on next. I'm just gonna go with the default install location, which is program files/git. So I'll click next for that. And then I'm just going to leave this at the default. And then I'm going to click next again and click next here. We're just going to use the default settings for all of these. There's a lot of settings that you need to go through, so I'm just going to click next for all of these. All right, and then it should go ahead and install all the files. So this might take a few minutes. Perfect. So now we have git installed. Now, assuming you do have git installed on your computer, simply open any folder on your computer where you want this installed. So let's say I want to install this on my desktop. I would open up my desktop, and then at the top here, I'm going to type in cmd to open up my desktop in command prompt. And then next, we just need to paste this in to use git to clone this repository onto our desktop. So let's press enter and give that a few minutes. All right, perfect. So if we open our desktop, now we have this AudioX folder, which let me just drag it over here and then open it. This should contain all the files and folders that you see in this GitHub repo. The next step is to change the directory to this AudioX folder, because right now we are still in desktop. We want to go one folder into our AudioX folder. So I'm going to type in cd and then AudioX, so that right now our command prompt is within this AudioX folder. All right, the next step is to use Conda to create a virtual environment. And this requires you to have Conda installed. If you don't have Conda installed, here's how to install it. If you already have Conda, feel free to skip to the next section. I'm just on anaconda.com, and actually what I'm going to do is install Miniconda. This is a minimalist version of Anaconda. If you install the full Anaconda, it installs a lot of packages and dependencies that you might not need. This just takes up more room on your computer, and of course the installation time is a bit longer. But with Miniconda, it's just a bare bones package, and you can always install additional packages and dependencies afterwards. So I'm going to click on latest Miniconda installer links by Python version, and I'm using Windows, so I'm going to install one of these. Now, for free and open source AI tools, usually they do not support Python 3.12, so it's better to install the Python 3.11 version. So I'm going to click on this, which should download an exe file to your computer. Once it's finished downloading, simply double click on this and then follow the steps to complete the installation. So I'm going to click next and then agree, and then let's set this to all users. I'm going to go with the default destination folder, and then I'm going to check this as well, clear the package cache upon completion. This just gives you back some more disk space without affecting functionality. All right, once that's completed, let's click next, and then we are finished. Now, we aren't done yet, so if you open up the command prompt and you type in conda -- version, you're still going to see that conda is not recognized. This is because we haven't added Anaconda to our path yet. So let's exit out of this, and then to add it to our path, we simply search for this function, edit the system environment variables. We're going to click on this, and then click on environment variables, and then click on the one that says path, and then click edit. And here's where you add in the path of Anaconda. So it depends where you installed Anaconda. For me, I installed it in program data, so it's going to be in program data /miniconda. And then if I double click on scripts, you can see that conda is here. So this is the folder we want to paste in. So I'm going to right click on this and then copy as path, and then back in the environment variables window, I'm going to click new and then paste in the path here, and then click OK, and then OK, and then OK again. Now, if you open up command prompt again and type in conda -- version, you should see that we are running 24.5.0. So this shows that we have successfully installed Anaconda. All right, so assuming you have conda installed, I'm going to copy this line and paste it in here. So basically, within our AudioX folder, we are going to use conda to create a new virtual environment called AudioX, and this environment is going to use Python 3.8.2. Think of a virtual environment as like a separate hard drive on your computer that houses all the packages and dependencies of AudioX. And the reason why we do that is we don't want these packages and libraries to conflict with existing packages and libraries on our computer, because AudioX might require different versions. So to make sure everything works perfectly for AudioX, we want to create a separate virtual environment which contains all the packages and dependencies it needs. So after we run that line, we need to type Y to proceed. So you can see now it's installing Python 3.8.2 and everything else it needs. Perfect. So once that's done, the next step is to activate this new environment that we just created. So I'm going to copy this line, conda activate AudioX, and then paste it in here. Now, if you see your environment's name in parentheses at the start of the line, that means you are now within this virtual environment. All right, so the next step is to copy this line, and then we're going to paste it in here and press enter. So this is going to install a few other dependencies, as you can see over here. And there's actually a ton of dependencies it needs to install, so this might take a few minutes depending on the speed of your internet. Now, when you run this line, you might run into this error: no module named Torch. And so someone actually posted the same issue in the Issues tab of the GitHub repo. So it turns out we also need to install PyTorch in the virtual environment first. Now, this depends on whether you have an NVIDIA GPU or if you only have a CPU. For me, I do have a CUDA GPU, and to check your CUDA version, simply open up command prompt and then type in nvcc -- version. So you can see for me, I'm using CUDA 12.4. So I'm going to copy this line, and then back in our terminal window, I'm going to paste this in here and press enter. And then I'm going to press yes to proceed. So again, this is a ton of packages and dependencies just to install PyTorch. This is over 2 gigabytes in size, so this is going to take a while. All right, perfect. So after that is done, let's go back to the installation instructions and run this line again. So I'm going to copy this and paste it back in here. All right, once that is done, the next step is to copy this line and paste it in here. So it's going to use Conda to install Conda Forge, FFmpeg, and this thing. Let's press enter and wait for this to install. All right, so we will press Y to proceed. And then again, it's going to proceed to install a ton of other packages and dependencies, which would take a few minutes. Alright, afterwards, if you see this line again, then that means it has installed all the packages successfully. So now the next step is to install these models. Now for Windows, wget is kind of annoying, so what we're going to do is actually manually install this from Hugging Face. So I'm going to click on this link, and then in Files and Versions, we are going to need this model checkpoint and this config.json. So let's download this model checkpoint first, which is going to be almost 6 gigabytes. So I'm going to click download, and then I'm going to download this in our AudioX folder, and then I'm actually going to create a new folder called model. So we need to download this in a folder called model within our AudioX folder. So let me double click into this and then press save. And that's because over here it says we need to make a new directory called model first. And then in addition to this, we also need to download this config.json. This one is pretty small, only 5 kilobytes. So let's click download. And again, we're going to place this in our model folder. All right, so once you've installed both files, let's make sure that they are within this model folder. So indeed, we have a model checkpoint, which is almost 6 gigabytes, and this config.json file. And we are finally done with the installations. Now, before we launch the Gradio demo, you might be wondering, how do I start this from scratch the next day? So let's do that right now. I'm going to close my command prompt and then start from scratch. So let's open up our AudioX folder, and then at the top, I'm going to type in cmd to open this up with command prompt. And then I'm going to use Conda to activate the virtual environment which we created, which is called AudioX. So let's press enter, and you should see that we are now within this virtual environment. And then the next step is to use Python to run this gradio.py file, which is over here. This basically opens up a nice visual interface for us to use this tool. And we also need to enter all this stuff over here. It's basically these lines. Anyways, let's press enter to run this. All right, so afterwards, you should see this Gradio link. So if we hold Control and click on it, it will open up this Gradio interface where we can use AudioX. And that sums up how to install AudioX on your computer. This is a super versatile tool, and I especially like the video to audio feature. It really does analyze the entire video and tries to generate audio that aligns with all the events in the video. We have a ton of AI video generators out there, but almost none of them can generate audio with video. So that's where AudioX comes in really handy. You can easily plug a video into here without even a prompt, and it'll auto-detect what the video is about and generate the appropriate audio. Anyways, that's my review of AudioX. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, and if you run into any errors while installing this, welcome to copy and paste the error message in the comments below, and I'll try to help you troubleshoot as much as possible. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you, so if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week, I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel, so to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.